Fable Anniversary is charming. Very charming. A game made in 2004 that stands up pretty well to the test of time in most aspects, along with being able to stand alongside other great games from that year. Its visual design, while slightly dated, is wonderfully done and charming. Getting into it, it did take a moment for it to click and for me to really get into it. But once I was, it was a joy to go through. Starting with the writing, which I think is one of the best aspects alongside the atmosphere. The writing is witty, clever, charming, and funny. Honestly, most parts of the game are pretty funny. Save for the more crass fart jokes. Without giving the answer away, there was a puzzle I thought was really funny, where you had to guess the name of a door to get through. And the atmosphere. The atmosphere is great. It pulls you into its warm feeling, towns feel alive, and it feels like you've stepped into a classic storybook fantasy adventure. It's a mostly lighthearted jaunt through the world of Albion, despite some of the higher stakes and darker moments. As I said before, the towns feel alive in a way that's somewhat rare to see in games, even nowadays. People have schedules, wake up and go about their day. Shop owners head to work and fill up their stores with their stock. Kids play in the streets, and depending on the alignment, you're welcomed everywhere with applause and praise as the NPCs bring up cool things you've done. I also enjoyed the token good and evil route choices. Most games, it's just not fun to be evil, but this game actually makes it kind of hard to stay good. Some characters just make you want to kill them, and some things are just more fun on the evil side, if not easier. Now, despite my praises for the writing, the story itself is only really average. It doesn't do anything special, but it gets its job done in helping you along and justify why you're doing what you are. Nothing really caught me off guard, surprised me, or wowed me, but nonetheless, it was enjoyable. Most of the side quests were arguably as fun, if not more fun, than the main quests. However, they were all pretty simplistic in structure, but generally pretty satisfying. But the biggest issue with the game I had was the combat. To be blunt, it's flat. There's no need to think much. It's too easy, and the enemies are bland for the most part. The magic system helps to spice it up a bit, but it doesn't elevate it enough for it to not be a dull experience. You only have 2 melee attacks, a regular attack, and one that can't be blocked but can't be spammed. So most combat encounters boil down to spamming attack until someone starts to block you, and you do an unblockable attack, rinse and repeat. Magic is honestly busted. Time slow just breaks every encounter and makes it even easier. Assassin Rush really messes with the game's AI, and late game fighting just becomes somewhat of a slog. The game as a whole just seems too easy, from the combat to the navigation, or even just making money, especially with the card games. Now, I'm not saying that every game needs to be difficult, but I enjoy it when a game tests me a little. But with Fable Anniversary, that's not all you get. You also get the Lost Chapters, the DLC/extra content, and I think that bar for bar, it is a noticeable improvement over the base game. It keeps the same lighthearted atmosphere, but allows for the more serious stuff to have its moments. The story also just seems better, more intriguing and more interesting, with a well-defined threat from the beginning, and cool quest goals and choices. It also improves on the combat a decent deal, not by changing anything fundamental, but by introducing varied types of enemies. The big bad's minions with Balverines and rock-throwing trolls. Summoners who attack you with ranged electric balls, which while they charge up, makes it so they can't be attacked. And it makes it so that you need to think more in any given encounter, actually prioritize and focus certain enemies over others. The only prime example in the main game that did this were the gobs. The big bad's minions weren't really utilized well until the DLC in my opinion. The only real sore point for the DLC was the final boss fight, which felt underwhelming in gameplay, though thematically and narratively, it was pretty good. Taking everything into account, it's a game that does well on most, if not all fronts, but doesn't seem to excel in any of them. Fable is a joy to go through despite some of my issues with it, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Alright, more videos to come, and just like my last video, the link to my backlog review will be in the comments. Have a nice day.